What if I told you that nearly 90 years after Amelia Earhart vanished into thin air, the world may finally be hearing her voice again? A chilling discovery has surfaced, one that could rewrite aviation history, silence decades of speculation, and shed light on one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. This is not just another theory or rumor, it's the recovery of what experts are calling Amelia Earhart's final transmission. And what she said in those last haunting words will leave you speechless. For decades, the story of Amelia Earhart has lingered like a ghost. In 1937, she set out to become the first woman to fly around the world, already cemented as a trailblazer in aviation. But somewhere over the vast Pacific, her plane simply disappeared. The world was left stunned. The U.S. Navy launched the largest search effort of its time, and yet nothing concrete was found. Theories spread like wildfire. Some believed she crashed into the ocean, others suggested she landed on a remote island, and a few went as far as saying she was captured as a spy. But through all the speculation, the one thing missing was Amelia's own voice, until now. Researchers working with recently declassified files and advanced audio restoration technology claim they've pieced together Earhart's last moments through a recovered radio transmission believed to have been lost in government archives. The tape, degraded and nearly unintelligible for decades, has finally been restored. And according to reports, her final words are chilling. The recovered transmission features Earhart desperately calling out coordinates, her voice strained with urgency, describing her dwindling fuel and inability to locate Howland Island, her intended refueling stop. Then, the recording goes silent. For nearly a century, that silence was all the world had left. What makes this discovery so compelling is that the transmission seems to align with some of the strongest theories about Earhart's disappearance. Her coordinates, as spoken in the recovered audio, reportedly place her near a stretch of the Pacific where several mysterious radio calls were intercepted in the days after she vanished. Some dismissed those signals as hoaxes, but with this new evidence, they may finally be validated. The haunting thought is that Amelia and her navigator, Fred Noonan, might have survived the initial landing but were stranded, waiting for help that never came. The discovery has reignited debate among historians, aviation experts, and conspiracy theorists alike. Was this transmission intentionally buried by the government to cover up a failed rescue attempt? Or was it simply forgotten, a casualty of time and bureaucracy, only to be rediscovered when technology made it possible to restore what was once lost? For Amelia's family and admirers, hearing her voice again after so long is both heartbreaking and comforting, a reminder of her bravery, but also of the tragic end she met in her quest to push the boundaries of human possibility. Amelia Earhart was more than just a pilot. She was a symbol of courage, independence, and the power of dreams. Her disappearance turned her into a legend, but it also left behind an unfinished story that haunted generations. This transmission, though brief and desperate, feels like her final chapter, a voice reaching out through time to remind us of both the fragility of life and the strength of the human spirit. Nearly a century later, Amelia Earhart is still teaching us something. Her legacy proves that even when answers remain out of reach, the pursuit of discovery never truly ends. And perhaps that's why her story continues to captivate the world. Because Amelia's final flight was not just about crossing the globe, but about crossing the limits of what humanity believed was possible. So, after decades of silence, Amelia Earhart's last transmission has finally been heard. And in those fleeting, haunting words, we find both the tragedy of her fate and the triumph of her daring spirit, an eternal echo that will never fade.